So as we seen in the other video, after Jesus addressed the problem of hate, he addressed another problem. This time, he addressed their love of sin. In Jesus' day, many people thought they were righteous individuals and felt that they weren't sinners like everyone around them. On the outside, they looked perfect, they seemed perfect, and everyone thought they were perfect. But Jesus saw their heart. And this serves as a lesson for us, especially for us today. We could present ourselves to others as we aren't, but we could only present ourselves to Jesus as we are. So when Jesus addressed them on their love for sin, he specifically addressed their love for sexual immorality. In Jesus' day, as in our day, individuals would lust over other individuals daily. Men and women would be wishing and desiring to be with someone and would ultimately objectify them for their own purposes. And along with objectifying them, their thoughts would be inappropriate and immoral. And even though they weren't doing anything physically, they weren't doing anything externally, their thoughts were far from God, and thus Jesus needed to address it. And Jesus said this, "But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart." See, oftentimes we think sin is merely an action, something that we do. But when we study the words of Jesus, what we see is that sin isn't just an action, but sin actually starts before an action. It starts in our mind. And when Jesus shared these words, the individuals in the crowd who felt that they were self-righteous started to realize that they weren't as righteous as they thought they were. Jesus showed here that human righteousness, which focuses on what we do on the outside, is nothing in compared to godly righteousness, biblical righteousness, which focuses on who we are on the inside. Just because you and I aren't doing something on the outside does not mean the thoughts that we have in our head are okay. I believe the reason why Jesus addressed this is because he wanted to show the people that they really did need him. There are so many people today who think they're better than they really are, and they justify all their actions. But when they get confronted with the words of Jesus, they see themselves as they truly are. I think the reason why we often think we're better than we are is because we hold ourselves according to our own standard instead of God's standard. And when we look at the life and the words of Jesus, we see what real righteousness looks like. And our righteousness falls very short compared to it. And left to ourselves without Jesus, we would be individuals who realize that we have a need but can't fix it. So when was the last time you examined your life? When was the last time I examined my life? When's the last time we thought about our thoughts and our motives, the secret things that are in our head? When was the last time we didn't hold ourselves accountable to our own standards, but to God's standards? I think if we're honest, we could all admit that we need hard work. And if we're really honest, we can admit that the way that we try to fix ourselves isn't working. We need something better, something greater, something higher. And that comes from God. And the beautiful thing, friends, is that Jesus doesn't tell us this to condemn us, to put us down. In fact, Jesus tells us this to lift us up and to show us how much he loves us in spite of who we are and what we do. Jesus doesn't look at us as we are, but for what we could become in him through his grace. God isn't interested in condemning us. God is interested in saving us. And Jesus takes time to tell us this because pride doesn't recognize its need. And because pride doesn't recognize its need, God needs to reveal to us our great need because we will not see it by ourselves. It is only when we see ourselves as we truly are that we will come to God asking for transformation. Because before we see ourselves as we truly are, we will think we're fine. I believe the world is hungry for inward religion, true religion. People who don't just do certain things, say certain things, but people who live a certain way, who are transformed from within. I believe the world is hungering for true Christianity. Join me and let us open our hearts to God and allow him to do the work that he desires to do in us.